But the thing is, you've got quite a resume here as to what's been going on in the city with the new high school and the search committees and everything else that's been going on. How is that what enticed you to get involved and run for office?
Well, I think to give a little perspective on it, a little context, Lisa and I, my wife and I, moved here with two very young kids back in 1992. We have 4 kids now.
Where are you from originally?
Well, originally I lived in Tennessee and then Toronto, went to university here at Brandeis and never left. So to most people, I would be from Boston. But of course, for people from Boston, you're not from Boston if you weren't born here. But I graduated from university in 1981 and never left. I've worked here, went to graduate school here, and continued to live here. We lived in the Back Bay, had our first 2 children in the Back Bay. And when our oldest child was almost 3, we moved to Newton. And we've considered it just a wonderful stroke of luck that we ended up in Newton as opposed to any other place in the country that we could have lived. We've both been involved in the community in a lot of ways. For myself, as you mentioned, I was Ward School PTO treasurer for 8 years. I was on the Elementary Equity Committee for 3 to 4 years, so got involved in a lot of the nitty-gritties of trying to make individual PTO budgets work. I was one of the 11 citizen representatives to Mike Jelinek Newton North High School Task Force. That was the group that recommended the large hybrid. I have been involved at Temple Emmanuel in a lot of different ways, including as chair of the Senior Rabbinic Search Committee. I was treasurer of Newton North now, and I was vice chair of the Blue Ribbon Commission to review elected official salaries. That was the commission that made a recommendation to increase the mayor's salary, which was accepted about 3 years after the recommendation, right before the override.
But he never took it, did he?
It has never gone through. The recommendation was there. I believe the board approved it. This would have been back in early 2005. I think the Board of Aldermen approved it. And Mayor Cohen decided at the time not to take it. So I've had just driven by a real passion and love for the community, involvement in a number of different ways. On the career side, I've worked my whole life in Boston after I graduated from college in 1981, generally with strategy consulting firms or in finance. After college, I worked at Bain & Company. Then I graduated from Harvard Business School in 1987. Went to work in corporate finance and mergers and acquisitions at Drexel Burnham, which was an investment bank. Went back into consulting and eventually ended up with a private equity group, doing private equity and venture capital investing, generally investing with small and mid-sized companies to help them grow. I have a lot of experience working with companies. I've been responsible for hiring, managing, and from time to time firing CEOs, CFOs, and COOs. I have a lot of corporate and nonprofit board experience. I'm president of a nonprofit board now, a very financially viable, financially healthy nonprofit, may I add. And I've been on public and private company boards, U.S., Canada, and Israel audit committees. I've been chair of a compensation committee. Spent my morning doing a 3-hour review of the CEO of a public company. So there's a set of professional experiences that I bring to bear that I like to think would be helpful in the years ahead.